Okay. We are on Facebook Live, everybody. Welcome to this event by the Nehru Centre, London, and Kaladi Arts, in conversation with Padma Shri Kunkumahanti. And this time we get to see her performance. I will introduce the legend in a moment and the rest of the artists. But I would love to welcome Amishji today, who is the director of Nehru Centre. It's a pleasure, Amishji, to have you on our show. I'm just going to say a few words about Amishji. Amishji is a diplomat, author, and a columnist. He has taken over as the director of Nehru Centre, London, in October 2019. Amishji has been listed amongst the 50 most powerful Indians by India magazine in 2019. Forbes India has regularly ranked Amishji amongst the top 100 most influential Indians celebrities in India. Amishji was also selected as the Eisenhower Fellow as a prestigious American program for outstanding leaders from around the world in 2014. Amishji published his first book in 2010. He has written 8 books till date. I have also read some of his books, I must say. Very, very impressed. Thank you so much. His books have been sold 5.5 million copies, and they've been translated into 10 Indian and 10 international languages. Amishji is alumnus of the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, IIM, Calcutta. He has worked for 14 years in the financial services industry before turning to writing. Welcome, Amishji, to our event. Thank you.
Thank you, Sushmita ji. Thank you so much for gracing the Nehru Centre stage. Kumkum ji, what an honor to have you here on the Nehru Centre stage, and so many wonderful, distinguished guests, Dr. Sarojini ji, Rohini ji, Ileana ji, thank you so much. Deva brother, thank you so much for joining here. You have raised the prestige and honor of the Nehru Centre by coming here. I will not take too much of your time. I'm just delighted personally to be that the Nehru Centre is hosting a program on Odissi. I am certainly not, I'm a lover of our arts, of course, but I can't say that I'm an expert on the Natya Shastra or our classical dances. I explore our scriptures and our stories a lot more. But it may surprise you to know, Kumkum ji, that actually I have a very long association with Odisha. I spent much of my childhood in Odisha, in a very, very small place called Kansbahal, which was
I know, near Rourkela.
Yes,
near
Rourkela, which is in western Odisha. And so, of course, we have seen a lot of Odisha, and I truly love that wonderful state, an undiscovered gem of India. Many more tourists need to go out there. For much of ancient Indian history, it was one of the richest parts of India. A large part of the Indian Ocean trade routes used to originate in Kalinga. And as with any rich and powerful part of India, culture also developed very strongly in Odisha. It has wonderful traditions in literature, in music, and of course in dances as well. So from my heart, I'm personally delighted that the Nehru Centre is able to host a classical dance from that wonderful state. And I hope that the great Lord Jagannath blesses this program and blesses all of you. That's all that I should say. Thank you.
Thank you, Amishji. Thank you. Thank you so much. Amishji has to go because he's got another commitment. But Amishji, the recording will be there. So please, in your own spare time, please do watch whenever you can. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I certainly will. Thank you. My namaste to all the elders. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. We shall move on to our, thank you, Amish ji. We shall move on to our introduction and our events for today, lots planned audiences. And as we had said to you last time, that we will get ma'am to perform, and here she is. So we start with a little introduction about ma'am, and she has been called the walking encyclopedia of Odissi by some of the exponents, including myself, and she definitely is. She doesn't need an introduction, but I will do a short introduction about her. She is the living legend of Odissi from Orissa, the last living legend, we would call her. And lovely to have you, ma'am, in this program. And thank you so much for giving your time. She has had a lot of credentials in her career. She has got the State Academy Award twice, State and the Central Academy Award. She is an awardee of Padma Shri Award in 2005, Kalidas Samman Award in 2016, and the Best Teachers Award from Bhubaneswar in 2017. She is also the architect of Odissi Research Centre, where she has worked hard, created so many wonderful students, and music, what we experience today, that is her, her sort of giving to Odissi. She has worked in Odissi, may I say, for last 65 years. So truly, she is a legend. And some of us have known her as we're growing up, including Rohini Appa, Liana ji, who is here today, will agree with me. We have seen some of her work for years, decades. So we're going to be sharing some of that today. She'll be sharing with us. She has also written 2 main books, which are the Odissi Pathfinders, which we follow as an organization, which is Odissi Volume 1 and 2. And also she has done a lot of, and one more, ma'am?
Odissi Dance Pathfinder.
Okay, Odissi Dance Pathfinder 1 and 2. And also at the current moment, a biography about her is being written. Before we start the program, I would like to say a little bit about Kaladi Arts. Kaladi Arts is an arts and education charity based in Hampshire, in UK. It was developed in 1999, and so it's like 20 years we've been working. And a lot of the people who actually are trustees in Kaladi Arts, either they're educators or they are people from different professions, but mostly educationists. We also have training programs. We also run professional sort of arts events. We work with museums, schools, and we have been doing this for a number of years. One of our main sort of passion is development of Odissi. So here we are. So this is why we are in this platform working with all these professionals from across the world, globally. And this is what we're going to talk about a bit more today, global, how we can take Odissi to the global audience. Thank you. So now we are going to move on to the Abhinay by ma'am, who has done a recording for us. It's a beautiful Abhinay. I will take, I'll do a short introduction of the Abhinay. It's called Sorane Goli Murali. It's an Odia Abhinay. The dancer is surrendering herself to the flute of her beloved Krishna. She says to the flute, I bow to you. Not a day has gone by without calling Radhike. You, the flute, are hiding behind with my sakhis. What do you take? What do you think you take, my dear flute? You are like a thorn between us. So this time she's envious because the flute is coming between her and her love for Krishna. And you're a mere bamboo. But when the notes mingle, it makes a beautiful sound. Music to the ears. I wish somebody would give me that from the hands of Krishna. I would like to throw you in the flowing rivers of Yamuna. This is the envious Radhike who is talking to the flute. And I bow to the flute and I surrender to you, dear flute. This is the Abhinay. Ma'am is going to be presenting now. Thank you so much. So we have the recording.
No sound.
The sound.
No sound. No sound.
Rajiv, the sound.
Able to hear the sound now?
Yeah.
No. No sound. No sound.
What about now?
No, 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 no.
Very low, Rajiv.
No, no sound. No, no, no sound.
Are you able to hear me? Hear the sound?
No sound, no sound. Please go back from the beginning.
We can hear you, but the music is not audible.
No, no, no. Stop it. No sound. No sound. Susmita, can you stop it now?
I've shared the video now, so you should be able to see the
No,
sound.
no, no. There's no sound at all.
Right, okay.
Will you please rewind it? From the beginning, you said.
Oh, I think maybe on the Zoom it is not taking the. I'll just stop the video for the time being.
Please.
Um,
There's no sound at all. Where should I put it? Hmm.
not able to see.
Video is good, but now sound, no? No sound.
There is a slight technical problem. We are sorting it. So please bear with us.
But go back, rewind it. Even with AC, I feel so hot here. The blast is here.
No sound.
Are you able to see the screen now?
Yes.
No sound.
Does he want to suggest?
What about the?
We can see, but we can't hear it.
What about the sound now? You able to
No,
see?
no,
Listen.
no sound.
We can see, but we
So I think for some reason from YouTube to Zoom it is not able to get the sound. I'm able to hear on my local computer, but it's not streaming to, the sound is not getting streamed to Zoom session.
You should have tried it earlier, na?
Andy may be wanting to help.
So Shweta, can you play in your mic the other video and we can get the sound? Sushmita? Sushmita, you there?
She is here. She's just on the phone to try and.
Sushmita, if you can play, if we can play the video at your end and just put the mic, your mic to that video on your computer, then we should be able to hear the music as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that now. If you just rewind the video.
Yeah, I can rewind, and what you can do, you can play the sound in your microphone, either on your by phone or something, that should be fine. Then we can hear the voice via your mic.
Okay.
And at the same time we can see the video here, so that way we can do it, overcome it. I think for some reason the audio is not streaming, it's only video stream that is working, so
Okay.
that's why you're not able to hear the sound.
So when shall we start it?
So as are you ready now? We can start both at the same time.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's gone.
voice you're not able to hear properly.
Wow. Very nice. Apart from the technical hiccup, I think it did not take away the pleasure of watching ma'am perform, and the experience we had from that abhinaya is just a telling story, comes across so beautifully, so vividly. I would like to thank the musicians who have played for this. They are Muralidhara Swai, Mardala Preya, Sri Ramachandra Das, violin, and
Ramesh
Ramesh Chandra Das, violin, and Mithali Chinara, who is the vocalist in this. We would like to talk about this performance by ma'am, and I think to our viewers, perhaps we will show them the full performance at a later time. We will advertise in our Facebook, so they get the whole pleasure of actually seeing it without the interruption, the technical interruptions. But let us just continue speaking with our guests today. And our two sort of delegates who are here is Dr. Rohini Dantawate. So I call her Rohini Didi. She joins us from California. I will do a brief introduction about her. And Dr. Eliana Padmashri, Eliana Chitaristi, all the way from Bhubaneswar. I am a big fan of her work. She comes to London every year. I've never had a chance to meet her, but this is my first encounter of actually seeing you on Zoom, Opa. So yeah, namaskar to you. So I'm just going to start by introducing our two guests, and we're going to talk something about Abhinaya we just saw from that perspective. So I'm going to start with Iliana Appa. So Iliana Appa has been in Odisha since 1979. She holds a doctorate in philosophy, and also she has been awarded a Padma Shri by the government of India in 2006. What an honor. She has been studying with Kelusar for a number of years, and she has her own school, which is called Art Vision Academy. Through that, she's done enormous amount of choreographies, dance productions. She's also traveled abroad, lots of different countries. She is also an exponent of Mayurbhanj Chau. And through her art vision, she carries out training, festivals, tours, and many more. Thank you, Appa, to this event today. We want to just introduce Rohini Didi. Rohini Didi have just met her a couple of weeks ago, and I just find her extremely positive and very encouraging and very passionate in Odissi. Rohini Dantawate, Dr. Rohini Dantawate holds a doctorate degree in Cultural Policy Arts Administration from Ohio State University. She received training in Odissi in Kalavikas Kendra Kotak from Guru Eluchana Mahapatra, Guru Raghunath Datta, Guru Ramani Ranjan Jena. Rohini Didi's work spins in the areas of dance education, arts administration, arts education, and cultural policy. Her projects are designed to provide audiences a window to explore, observe, understand diverse cultures through the experiences of the arts. She offers courses which focus upon helping students build in cultural understanding and develop skills from intercultural communication. And so she is really a big ambassador in the USA doing all this work. So welcome, Rohini Didi, to this event today. So I think my question to the panel is, we have just seen this mesmerizing Abhinaya by ma'am. I would say she is the queen of Abhinaya for me. And what are the elements, would you say, the audience need to notice in her Abhinaya? And what makes her truly unique? So I would start with Rohini Didi first. Please unmute. Rohini Didi, please unmute.
Thank you so much, Sushmita, for inviting me. And I think my day is done just watching Kumkum Nani's performance. When I was little, I used to be told that you want to learn Abhinay, you need to watch her. And as you rightly said, she is the queen of Abhinay. And in today's Abhinay, after you asked me, I kind of, the work that Banamali Das, the poet who's written this song, his work really, the Padavali that he wrote in his time, was written in very colloquial language. And that simplicity that comes out in his verses, I see that in Kumkum Nani's Abhinay. And what is unique about her is keeping in view the poet's words. Her body truly reflects that. If it is complex, I see the complexity in her dance. When I see simple words like ki gheni, I mean, I've never heard this word gheni. Ki gheni chinhilu.
How do you?
I mean, that is so pretty, Kumkumappa. I mean, I was reading these words and I was thinking, oh my God, this is just amazing. And that is what Sushmita came across to me in this Abhinay of Kumkum Nani's, is the romanticism in a very simple way, very subtle. It actually is, his Banamali Das's work is very in line with Jaydev's poetry also. They speak of similar themes, Radha, the love of Radha and Krishna, but how they treat the subject. And having learned Ashtapadis, I had not learned this Abhinay, but I have learned other Oriya songs of Upendra Bhanja and others, many other Oriya poets. But what is the beauty of Banamali Das is the musical pattern in the words, and it really is simple and clear, and I can see that in her Abhinay. So if I was supposed to be watching Kumkum Nani and trying to emulate her, I would try to emulate the simplicity and the clarity in her, the way she expresses the emotions. I'll now request Ileana to give us.
Yeah, beautifully said, Didi. Very beautifully said. Ileana Appa, your take on that? Please unmute yourself, Appa.
Thank you, Sushmita, for making me part of this conversation. Yeah, of course, I know Kumkum since the last 40 years, and she was, when I reached in 79, after Guruji, she was the second person whom I've been directed to. I remember Viren Patnaik himself had told me when Guruji was absent very often, going in tour and all these things. So immediately said, okay, if you want to learn something in the meantime and be exposed to the true and Abhinaya, you have to meet Kumkum. So I became a regular visitor in her house, and she was feeding me also. So it was that time she was not too much in dance in those years, but once in a while Guruji was coming, and that was a very rare, unique privilege that she had, because Guruji was going to her house and she was not going to Guruji's house, so to rehearse or to compose. So from that time we became very close, and I could be close to her style, lifestyle also. So she's like this, as she's very extempore means she's very in Abhinaya, as Rohini says, in simplicity. So in that way, she was also in her daily life, and the way she's approaching dance is very natural. It comes natural to her. There is nothing that she has to overdo for that. So that overdoing is not there, and it's good that, according to me, even now she has not gone into that direction, because after so many years there is the possibility also, once you are so expert and things are coming more natural to you and all these things, to overdo, to overcharge the action or the expression or this. So to maintain that purity, that is unique and very important. So of course we had Guruji in our life, and and he was the first example of this kind of natural attitude and natural purity in Abhinaya, and so we were fortunate, all of us, to be from him. And she, of course, she was among the pioneers of the students, and so she got the maximum out of him in those years, in which he could really dedicate so much time for each composition, and she got the best out of it. So this is what I'm very happy to be here today and to talk about that.
Thank you, Elianapa. That was amazing. I would say also, from my perspective, I think ma'am has been very lucky to actually work with Guruji very closely, and especially the struggling years when Odissi was not being established. So she was more like one of the pillars of Guruji, standing beside him. A lot of the choreography is done on her. So yes, definitely. And one thing I have discovered about ma'am was, not moving away from the subject, she's an amazing singer. So when she sings, I want to dance. So she has a lovely voice, and I think we might want to hear her at some point, possibly not today, but we might have to bring her back when we are talking about Odissi music, because she has got a fantastic sort of voice, and her knowledge, she's a beacon of knowledge in that too. I shall move on to something else, which is of a lot of interest to a lot of our global audience, because of the delegates who are here. I was just going to ask our two guests who are here, Elianapa and Rohiniapa, if you could share your pursuit of studying Odissi, and in particular Abhinaya, because we are discussing Abhinaya. And I would say, especially for me, this is of interest, and the audience, I'm sure, especially since you are not from the Odia background. How have you pursued this art form, the learning stage? So I may start with Rohini.
Before I go to that, it would be interesting to listen to Kumkumapa's, reflection of this Abhinay. I mean, let us, while she is here, I mean, instead of we talking, we are nothing. So I'd rather ask her to give a few words. Would you mind, Sushmita?
Sure. No, please, Rohini Didi, definitely.
share your
Definitely.
experience or your whole. I'm sure it must have been a beautiful time learning or performing this.
Yes, please, ma'am.
Now, if I start telling, it will take probably 10 hours. What my experience? My first experience in a dance drama called Puja Rini in Kala Vikas Kendra. When I just learned 1 year, within 1 year of learning, Guruji made me the heroine, Puja Rini, Radha, who worships Krishna. I was very small to understand the heavenly love or whatever relations Radha Krishna had. Whatever Guruji did, I copied that, only copied that. And it was excellent. People said it was excellent, excellent, excellent. My parents couldn't recognize me on the stage with this. And some of my mother's friend told, why Guruji is teaching all these love affairs. This was a small teenager girl. My mother said, she doesn't know anything. Whatever Guru says, she does. But that was but I didn't know I'm copying. I was just copying Guruji. That is the first experience. Gradually, with age, that was when I was in class 9, 8, 9. Then I did a lot of dance dramas. In dance drama, thematic, a lot of expressions are there in different roles. But ultimately, during 65, and when I joined the Gita Govinda seminar, conducted by Central Sangeet Academy, all the Gita Govindas were composed in my house. And Guruji, my mother will write the meaning of each word and all that. Anyway, but I need not tell them, but I must tell the youngsters or those who are interested. Abhina means Abhi Niyati Darsakan Bhavan Iti. You must communicate the emotion to the audience who develop the sentiment. Bhava and rasa. You show the bhava. It is the darsakan, the auditorium, who will feel the rasa. If I show some sorrowful moment, if I can make the audience cry, there I'm successful as an artist, because we are not using any dialogue, only on the song and the connecting music. So according to me, I can sing, and the variety of music compositions in a particular line, I remember everything. And the music, that is the essence, most important part in Abhina, that you must sing. You must sing the song, know the meaning, each word, and the gamakas. Suppose in Dine Nadaku Radhike, there are the Kigheni Chinilu Mote. How did you recognize me? Well, actually, to be very frank, this particular Abhinay was suggested by late Sanjukta Panigrahi. She once phoned me, I was in the office. She said, why don't you do this Abhinay? I said, what's that? And this is a very good song, it will suit you, you will tell Guruji to compose it. Then I told Guruji, he said, okay, we'll compose it. And during the composition, he said to Mr. Pandit Bhuvaneshwar Mishra that Kigheni Chinulu, give me 15 times. I was surprised. What will I do in 15 times? The same thing. Then Mr. Ji was ready to give variety of musical compositions. And then that day I decided, I thought, my conclusion was, Guruji was not a dancer. He was a poet and a mathematician. A poet so far as his imagination goes, and a mathematician so far as rhythm goes. And he was the duo of Bhuvaneshwar Mishra and Kalicharan Mahapatra really made Odissi stood today internationally. That way, I consider Pandit Bhuvaneshwar Mishra as the mother of Odissi and Guruji as the father. He gave birth to music, and Guruji reared it up. All the Pallavis, Abhinaj, everything. But since I had a musical background, since my father, when he admitted me in Kalavikas Kendra, he said, you must learn music and dance together. That little 5-6 years of learning music probably helped me in doing the Abhina, because I always sing my own song, sing my music and dance. I never bother for the musician or the vocalist or the percussionist. Entire thing I sing and do myself. That is probably makes it natural. If you are trying to remember and count in this number I'll do this, in this number I'll do this, then you are absolutely unnatural, and it won't be absolutely that spontaneity will not come. When I learned Gita Govinda, and because of the sensuous meaning, I was not married, Guruji never explained me the whole thing. But when I asked him, what do you mean by this? What is this? He said, shut up. I said, who is, he only said whether Radha is telling, or Sakhi is telling, or Krishna is telling, and what is the circumstance. I only knew this. Then I started performing, and in Dhira Samira Jamuna Tire Basati Vane Vanamali. In Basati Vane Vanamali, I got so much of clapping in Delhi, you can't imagine. I didn't know what I'm doing. I just copied Guruji. That Vanamali is sitting in a Moorish mode, the side of the Ramana, to wait for Radha. This is the thing I just learned, but I copied him, and I got so much of clapping or applaud, I can't tell you. But even then, I was not amused. I was not that I never get amused, or I don't know what I do. Please believe me, I never know I'm doing something which is excellent or thing. As soon as every second you change, every second you turn 3-4 expressions. But that is not the thing. I talk to myself. I sing the song accordingly, the eye movement or the feeling comes out. And mainly the reason for this is music and the accompanying music and the song. If you are a good singer, if you can sing well, remember, and the accompanying music, in which music you have to do what. Within that frame, you have to finish. Otherwise, by the time you think, the music is gone. Like a railway station. This particular distance you have to cover to reach a station. So music limited, they won't wait for you. The musicians will not wait for you. You have to do it within that, show your expression within that limited musical time. So usually in a serious program, before I go to sleep, I always think more. I think more than doing it. And Eliana once said, when she was going to my house, you are the only dancer who never practices but performs. But I said, I do the brain work. I think in the sense I sing the music, sing the song, and the accompanying dance composition.
Thank you.
But I never know what I do.
Thank you, ma'am.
Believe
Thank
me,
you so much.
I think myself as a good Abhina doer, but I never think that line till now.
This was amazing information, because most of us, I have not learned music, and I'm starting to learn at a later stage now. But I think this is amazing that, for the new generation, this should be a requirement in
Yes.
itself. Maybe
No,
Ilyana,
if you count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll do this 1, 2, 3, then it becomes mechanical. It can never be natural. If you sing, if the song flows in your vein or artery, then only you can do well.
Thank
Nothing
you.
else. I always tell my students also, go on singing, go on singing. If I learn a new song, even if I'm in the kitchen, I do all sorts of household work, but I'll be definitely singing in my mind. The song will be going on until I digest it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I would add here that the tradition is actually singing and dancing, because both Gotipua and Mahari were singing and dancing on their own. So we on the way we have lost that, and we have divided the roles between the musician and the dancer. But the actual tradition was singing and dancing together.
Ilyana, I'm just thinking, maybe would you like to share with us your pursuit for Odissi? I mean, coming back to our question, and in particular Abhinaya, and also which is, as I've mentioned, like something which is of interest to our audience and myself particularly, like since you have been there and sort of not from the Odia community, how your pursuit of Odissi?
I think I've been very privileged that I've been here in Orissa all through, because in Orissa everything is speaking the same language. And when I talk about language, I'm not referring only to the Oriya. It's the language of gesture, it's the language of sitting, of moving, of music, language of what the people are thinking, how the people. So all this really was all around me, and I could. It was not only I was not learning only in the classroom. So the classroom, of course, the guru was the key to enter into this world. And without his guide, I would have been lost. I would not have known from where to start. But that following his guidance and all the around world, all the cultural, which was still alive now, but I am talking about 40 years ago, where I was still more alive. And I was very privileged actually to have been accepted and to have been destined to remain here, because everything was corresponding, everything was correlated. So whatever I was hearing, the pujari was coming to the puja in Guruji's house was the same sloka which we were learning. The way Guru Ma was sitting to do the chapati was the same pose that Guruji was teaching us in Kuryadunandana. So all this, the music which was hearing in the morning from the temple nearby was the same tune which was there in the song which we were learning. So it was I was learning continuously for 24 hours, and that is why I could not leave also, because it was a process which was continuing, and there was no end, because every time I was going more deep, and there was still more to learn. So the things was becoming more instead of diminishing. And then the music, and then the language, and then so. But here I had all the support of Pandit and composer, music composer. So I really admire actually the people who are trying to maintain, like Rohini is doing, and so many others nowadays, to maintain the tradition and the passion which they have for this dance. But they are working in a context which is not so privileged like I am, like in Europe or in America or anything, where everything around it doesn't talk the same language, and it is totally. So you have to find a way to present it, the way to, and to remain convince yourself and to remain attached yourself. So it's the way around. I mean, I really admire that, and so for me it was really a privilege to be here. So the learning Abhinaya has never been such a complex process, because first of all, I was already acting before coming. And then I had this Italian spirit, which is a lot of gesticulation, so very expressive. So, and then I have the best Abhinaya Guru. So, and I was living in Orissa, so putting together all these factors, I didn't have much problems in learning Abhinaya.
Thank you, Lena, that is beautiful, beautifully said. And I think who is a better, because I think what combines us together is the love and affection of Guruji, Guru Sir. You know, that something is so mesmerizing, that experience of a lifetime. Thank you so much. Rohini, Didi, would you like to share your experience and pursuit of Odissi? And also what is interesting is what made you choose Odissi as a profession?
Thank you so much. I'll first answer the first question that you asked. And actually, I will summarize Ileana's description in 2 words: cultural immersion. I think irrespective, I was born in Cuttack. I grew up in Cuttack. So I was blessed to be amidst in that environment. And as Ileana put it very nicely, it's just not the verbal language, but it is the language of so many things that is happening. And that is what seeped in when I was with friends. All the festivals were so important for me, whether it was Kumar Pune or whether it was Roger, or like whatever my friends did, I did. Actually, I'm a Gujarati. I mean, born to Gujarati parents, but I was having fun following the Gujarati traditions and following the Odia traditions.
You had
And
best of both the worlds.
best of both the worlds. So I totally endorse Ileana. My experience has been the same when I get to see people like Kumkum Nani from 9 or 10 dancing, and we are told that is what we have to watch. Then we had Guruji, and all the gurus that I learned with were amazing. So I consider I really feel blessed. And that is the reason why the passion or the fire to keep doing it, or the way Ileana said, that we are far away from our context now, but that never dies. Our love, our passion to continue to bring that dance form on world stage in any way, whether it's through writing, whether it's through dancing, or whether it is just sharing the art with a different language. Like here, I cannot do the song that Kumkum Nani performed if I have to relate the art form to in the global context. Yes, it is a beautiful work. So from the beauty perspective, yes, I will still do it to present a traditional repertoire and present the Odyssey, the beauty of the form, the lyrical flow of the form. But if I have to attract new audiences, that is not what I would do. I have to think how to share my Odyssey to people beyond just the Indians, which means people of other ethnicities. So I have to relate it to them through a context that they can understand or they can appreciate. So my work here, I'm not talking a lot about my study of Odyssey, because I followed a similar path that Ileana has. But here my challenge has been is how to help maintain the authenticity of the form and the purity. A lot of fusion work, contemporary work, it's okay, art evolves, but we need to show people the true Odyssey that happened and continues to, what
Exactly.
the gurus worked to move. And so when Kumkum Nani comes today, I don't expect her to do a contemporary piece. I want her to do a traditional song of Banamali or Bhanja, or, where we taste the Odia flavor. And that is what is, for me, if I have to watch Kumkum Nani or Sanju Nani, I want to see that.
Definitely.
Right? So this is, I have struggled between many cultures. A Gujarati born in Orissa, married to a Maharashtrian, moved to America. So
Cross-cultural.
right. And the only thing I've understood, that every state I moved, I learned their language. Because the real juice of every culture is in the language. If you understand the language, you can connect with people. We spoke Bengali when we were in Cuttack because we had a lot of Bengali friends. So just to keep it short now, I want to go ahead with your program. And with regard to my choosing Odyssey, I didn't have a choice. My uncle founded Kalavikash Kendra, and he just told me, hey, after school, you go to dance class. My uncle Babulal Doshi, the founder of Kalavikash Kendra, he just said, okay, that is what you do. That is life. So unlike Ileana, who came very prepared to study the dance form, we were playing in the corridors of Kalavikash Kendra. And sometimes, that is how we learned playfully. We didn't learn because we wanted to become something or take the art form somewhere. But
Exactly.
so everything happened just as a part of life.
As a
So
process. The
yes.
process.
Apart from that, I was studying very seriously, and my father said, unless you get a first position, I'm going to stop your dance. And my passion for dance was much more than studies. But in order to keep up my dance, I had to study very hard and please my father by getting first class first and getting into All India service. I got the invitation from ICCR to go to Russia. My father said, nothing doing. You cannot move on. You have to appear in the civil service examination. If you get in, then only you'll go. What a Agni Parikya. And I succeeded with God's blessings. Then I went. But my passion for dance, as I totally agree with Rohini. We actually learned playfully. There was no ambition. There was no serious thinking about it, that I'll be a dancer or something. That is out of question in our time. And when I wanted to become a professional dancer, my father said, impossible. You have to have a good job behind you. He never said about marriage. But
Kumkum,
unless you
I'm
have a
always,
good,
I'm
you
always
cannot.
reminded, I'm always reminded of Guruji calling us Puruna Musa.
That's a new word.
No,
No,
one beautiful example I'll tell you about Abhinaya. Once we were doing Ramayana, there was an alap when Rama goes away to catch the golden deer. Sita is alone, and she is weeping. When there was beautiful alap, Guruji told me certain dialogues. These are because he had the theatrical background. He told me dialogues, and he said, "You express that." I said, "No, I want to hear the alap." He said, "No, you have to do it." I said, "No, I will listen." Because I will, whenever the alap goes up or lands in a particular note, when it goes to the pitch, my expression will go to a pitch. When it comes down, my expression will come. That's how I understand this, because the music is the best inspiration, gives the best inspiration to show your emotion. So ultimately, Guruji succumbed. He said, "Okay, you listen to the alap." And sometimes Bhubaneswar Mishra used to scold me. "Huh? You will remember the alap also, what I played? How can you remember the alap? Can't I change the alap?" I said, "No, sir, you have done this and I have
Fantastic.
fixed my abhinaya accordingly. And if you change now, I have to change accordingly because I go with the music." So this is the connection of music and abhinaya is
Perfect.
maximum.
Thank you, ma'am. What also would be nice for the panel to talk about is we have, like, for example, ma'am would probably offer this on a plate because of all her experiences, music, dance, theater, name it. So I think we are blessed to have that as a legend, be given that. How do we make this art form, ODC, wherever we are, because we are globally there. Ilyana Appa is in from Europe, in sort of India, and Rohini Didi is in America, myself in England, and ma'am in Orissa, and she also has students who are from Europe at the moment teaching. So how do we make this art form, especially ODC, quite unique, has a niche, more relatable globally? I think we will start with Rohini Didi.
for me, that has been my challenge since the day I came to the US. I presented the Shavatar in a school, in a kindergarten class. And and I thought, oh, nice, I'm giving them 10 stories, which has a moral of the victory of the good over evil. But that truly didn't happen. One of the cute kindergartners after the program got up and told me, "You could have done Cinderella for us." And then all the bells started ringing in my head that, okay, I have to think about how to offer my art form in a way where two things. They learn to admire the art form as it is, understand the beauty and flow of the art form, but at the same time, how do I help them understand the thematic base? Because the context they grew up in is very different than the context we grew up in. I grew up in a place where, stories from our scriptures and episodes of Radha Krishna, and all we heard, we saw in paintings, we spoke about it. So all this was easily understandable, but these children are not used to these various gods and goddesses and what they did. So that became a big challenge. So I basically have learned two things: is show them the true form, the way the art form is, with keep it exactly the way it is. And the second thing is help them understand it in their own context, related to their context. For example, the Abhinay that Kumkumappa did, the central emotion are two: devotion and love. And human beings universally understand emotion and love. So to my students, especially the non-Orias or the non-Indian students, First, let them express love and devotion the way they want to, using any music they want to. Once they do that, they start understanding my movements, my language of Odissi. So I give them that space first in the few scenario of early initial, that they learn the vocabulary of Odissi, but they present something that they want to express or communicate, because finally we are all storytelling. It's just that I'm talking about Indian stories, they might give me a story from their context. And then I again take them to a traditional repertoire. That is how I relate. I help them relate to it, and I help them develop a curiosity for my own art form. Have I answered your question, Sushmita?
Yes, Didi. I think we will. I think I will also like to add a bit what we do in the UK. So what we at the moment we feel is there are a lot more dancers, OTC dancers, which is wonderful. So which means we are able to see more performances, and people can actually start working with each other. Because initially we had to bring people from India, other places, just to show the form.
Right.
And also for us, I think the long-term projects helps. So say, for example, if it is just a tokenistic thing,
Right.
so when we have done projects with incorporating the museums for a year or two and made it with the communities who are around, that sometimes has helped people see, and they have been part of the community.
Right.
Because we have to somehow create that community when we are teaching the dance as well. Because without creating that community, the dance cannot just take place. People just learning in the vacuum.
We have to develop new audiences and create that curiosity in the community of what Odissi is or what Odissi music is. So yeah, it takes a long time, and it has to be an ongoing process. Much like you said, Ileana visits every year. Why does she need to visit every year? To keep a continuity.
Definitely.
Right.
And so Ileana sort of, she visits, and then there is few more. So I will ask her to talk about that when she comes to England, and she goes to other countries as well.
Regarding this, I think I'm feeling a little guilty because my all attention is more in India, so I'm not dedicating enough time at all to spreading it too much in my own country. In fact, when I came here for 6 years, I never went back. And finally, Guruji had to throw me out of the class one day. And so I really threw me out. He said, I'm not teaching you anymore. So at that time, I decided that maybe it was time to go back then I enjoyed to share whatever privilege and whatever enrichment I had got in those years to share with my own people in their own language. But always my ambition has always been to work here and to learn as much as possible, to establish myself here more than spreading it outside. But then say that once I started, then I realized in those times, in the 80s, I realized how much misconception was there about India in general, which was still linked to elephant and snake and all these things. But about dance even more, because when I was proposing to present this dance, dignified dance festival, really dance festival, where the previous day would be a Bolshoi classical ballet, and the next day there would be a big American company. So they organized it. They didn't know what it was. They thought that it was something very slow meditation linked with some mystical things. So I realized that no, that became my ambition to try to to really propose this dance in those kind of festivals. So I always try to avoid all the fringe type of initiatives, which was coming out, where some curry and mystic and incense and smoke and everything was there, and then dance would be there. So I always try to avoid all those kind of things, and it was more difficult to propose it to organizers who didn't know what it was. But then, with the help of my mother also, I really succeeded in presented in a very good dignified dance festival in the course of the years in the 80s and 90s. Then it became a little more difficult. And and I realized that the people wanted to see the absolutely traditional things. No experiment, there was no experiment, were just not interesting at all to them and for me also. So the real traditional Jagannath on stage, which would be some visual relation with what we are actually from where we are coming. So it was more meaningful to have Jagannath on stage over there, and I don't know, people decoration over there, and just to have the ambience and to present absolutely traditional items. And so this once or twice I had tried to present some experimental choutings. It was not interesting for them. Absolutely the traditional is what it's really it's the strong point. So they there was also instances, for example, I remember in Holland I did the Sakhihe, and somebody again said, but in the beginning you show that you are removing the ankle belts, and then how is it at the end you say that the gungur sound was coming, and the bell and the gungur sound was coming. If it was, so I said, I mean, it's in the composition actually is like this, but this people are really interested in following, and they want to understand. They really want to understand. And I was always thinking, but why they want to understand so much about Indian dance when they see a modern dance, their own modern dance, where there was it is so, sometimes you don't understand at all, and they just give you a hint in the beginning, a title which doesn't correspond at all with what is going to be presented, and it is all disconnected. But the moment we present Indian dance, that eagerness to understand is, I found it a lot. So how to present the explanation before, accompanied by gesture. So somebody maybe will read out in detail, and I'll do the gesture in the middle of the stage before actually doing the dance. So all these experiences were important. And of course, for example, the Ramayana piece was the most successful because of the dramatization, which is very strong. The characters are very understandable. So the demons and the deer and the Sita. So to choose the right items, also to choose the right way of explaining, the right item to present in the right occasion, but don't dilute, don't compromise, absolutely, because the tradition is what it's sending, and it has the richness. It is absolutely reaching over there. So in a way, we have to explain it here also, because it's not that, yeah, you can recognize Krishna and maybe Rama, but beyond that, there are a lot of things which people cannot follow. So to reach out, we have to reach out somehow here also. It's not that much of difference. So go ahead and really, I'm talking about performance-wise. Then, of course, as I said, I'm not there to have to create interest, a student, a school. So that is an experience which Rohini and Sushmita can relate to, because you are living there. So for me, it is just to share those in those moments in which I am there, but always I come back here because here is my place.
Thank you. Thank you, Elena. So I think also in the UK, we have to think about the next generation as well, because they have been very instrumental in helping develop Odissi. We do have all our teachers, all of us, like a big family. And, you know, I think we hope Kumkum ma'am will come and teach them one day, because we're hoping to bring her this year. But because of COVID, it has not been possible. It's just been online. But we would love to, Kumkum ma'am has been working with some of our students, developing some new vocabulary. She has sort of choreographed some pieces for us. So she will be showing, they will be showing some arasas in Tribhangi and Joka, and then we will see a little sort of composition she has created as well. So, ma'am, would you like to introduce a little bit about that? Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
So far as the topic was foreign students, how to deal with Odissi dance. And one opinion was, Rohini, is that you have to have their state of mind. As Ileana said, our tradition should not be disturbed,
Right.
isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you take in their context, it is very difficult to convince them to the traditional Odissi. I mean, traditional way of teaching Odissi. They won't accept. But this side, I will not compromise as far as our tradition is concerned. Tradition is tradition, Odissi tradition. But the thing difference is, suppose they don't understand language, Odia language, or suppose take one English rhyme. But same rhyme I'll put in, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Same their language, but it must be put in Odissi style of singing. I think they may not dislike it. They may take, but through these small things, you can put in the Odia music, and after learning the vocabulary or the grammar or but suppose you have 10 students, out of 10, 9 will disappear, but one will be interested. She must be having a passion to learn what it is.
Yes.
I mean, that sort of thing. But if we have 100 students, it is not possible for classical learning, even in here in India or Odisha, because the times have changed. Nowadays, mostly children, they love mobile phone and computer. How do they bother for classical dance? Very few, I tell you, very few. But they are more interested in playing games in mobile phone. That has actually killed the brain. In our time, there was no video recording, there was no mobile, there was nothing. We used to enjoy. But if you take the time factor, the huge gap now. So it is very difficult to tackle the foreign students to the Odissi tradition. But if you are really interested to teach Odissi, even if there is one student, teach her the traditional way. But even in Odisha or India, tradition has gone. Guruji's tradition, rarely you see. Everyone has changed because they want to please the auditorium. Should we go in that line, Rohini? Should we please the auditorium Rasikas, or should we show our tradition and keep them in your hand? If you are capable of keeping them in your control by your art,
we will have to work with times, changing times. We'll have to strike a balance between all these factors that you stated. So I cannot force students the way Guruji taught me. I cannot
no,
do that.
that is time is gone. Time is gone. I'm
So,
not telling that. Even the dancers, professional dancers, I mean, now they are going out of the tradition to show this body language, the energy, the jumping and thumping and doing all that, which I mean, something they may be liked by audience, but
no, but
as
that is why the beauty you reflect in your dance, the beauty Ileana reflects in her dance is different from them.
yes, no,
So
that
beauty
way
lies in the eyes of the beholder. So if I have an understanding of a good dance form, and I have seen you, I've seen Sanjanani, I've seen Guruji, I'm not going to fall in trap with something that is of a poor quality. So if Ileana comes every year and presents the traditional repertoire, she is leaving a stamp. You have already left a stamp in our world, which will never go away.
Definitely.
And whenever we talk about Odissi, we talk about you, we talk about Sanjanani. And so the generation that comes after you all could be Ileana, could be so many others. We will talk about them. And because we live far away from the context, we do have to balance all these factors out.
Definitely. And I would just like to add, my journey with Kumkum ma'am was a few months ago. I requested her to talk to us. So I think at that point, if you don't mind me saying this, ma'am, she was not very sure how she could talk to the people on Zoom. And here we are. So I think this tradition definitely will stay, because even when we go back to things, the new normal. There will be some type of online communication, which probably will reach the world, and it'll still have some interest. It will create a resource, I think. All it will do is definitely create a resource.
I could come to know in Europe, if you do this dum dum duck, they won't like it. They want slow, musical, graceful, lyrical, lilting things. They appreciate more. When I did Tolangi Gopadanda Suna Kalia, Tolangi Gopadanda Monare Kalia Suna in Moscow, believe me, I had to repeat it 4 times because they won't stop the clapping.
Wow, very nice. Beautiful.
Even in 87, when we went with the house was full, they like traditional Odissi. Even in Europe, I don't know about America. In America also, many Indians are there. We have a very good auditorium full with Indian audience. Some Americans are there, but if you can an artist has the power to hold the audience, either with her dance or abhinaya, there lies the success of Odissi.
True.
That is my conclusion.
True.
That depends on the artist. Holding the audience under your control and communicating with them through dance. That is more important.
Thank you, ma'am. I think also we are very rich in UK, I would say, because there are visiting artists like Eliana Pa, and then Kumkum ma'am will come, and we'll probably get Rohini Divi as well. She's not very far from us. So that trend of people coming and sort of doing work here, keeping us, informing us, the next generation, that definitely will have better interests, and all of us are beginning to work together as well. So yes, there is most of good positive things coming up, and they're definitely engaging with more and more people. Definitely I can speak about UK and organizations working together as well. We would love to move on to the next part. Thank you so much, panel. Which is we would I think the time we had a little bit out, time has moved on a bit. So we would like to finish off with, we have a suggestion, and this is a suggestion I would like to ask. There is ma'am's composition of the Pallavi, or we have a slight, she's worked with some of our students on Arasas. So would we like to just
development on the grammar?
Grammar, yes. So we'll move on to that, and I think we'll finish off with that for today. Yeah, yes, thank you, panel. Yeah, thank you so much. So yes, Rajiv, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah. Should I play the Pallavi or the last one?
No, the students.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll just a minute.
Yeah. So you have been given a timeline.
Yeah, just a minute. I'll just try it again. I think you should be able to hear the sound this time. Sorry. It did not work last time.
In fact, when I started my school, I brought some improvement on the grammar. In fact, you are
able to hear the voice?
10 steps in yoga and 10 steps in Tribhanga. What I have done, by mixing yoga, Tribhanga and Abhanga, and showing variety of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 instruments in one particular magma, so that their sense of wonder, that is space of peace, will be taught to them. So first thing I show you the variety steppings which my students do for warming up at the same time, set their body right for Vibhanga, Abhanga and Choke. This is the variety stepping. First they will do the Bhumika for dancing, and then the variety stepping. all the age takes with its varieties. Now, next to this, I have improved the grammar so far as Arasa is concerned. This one I must say A for apple, B for cat, C for cat. Now, go through sentences. Full sentence, I am going, she is coming up to sentences, and all the sentences mixed together makes a passage. So, Arasa is a passage of number syllables, which are translated by the students. But Arasa means this number of other syllables which is ending with A or A or Ta. So accordingly, in Eftali, I have composed some Arasas, 8 of them, 4 of them will be shown to you. By doing this, with hand, Toka, Tumanga, Avanga, and all the most of the dances which are included in our Pallavi, they are, apart from that, some improvement, some more steppings with hands and head and neck, eye movement have been given. And for each Arasa, one Nagma is fixed in different ragas. For 4 Arasas, 4 Nagmas will be played, sung by the singers in 4 ragas. And they are in Italy. Now they will see these Arasas, these passages of mother roles which are translated into footwork, foot, hand, neck, body, and Toka, everything is there. But this must be done before the students go to college.
So that was some of the arasas ma'am had created. The last one was absolutely
Thai. Because the sound and dance, that they don't match. The sound comes first, dance comes next.
yes, ma'am. I think we have had a bit of
the Thai dance, Thai.
So I think the time
Thai.
we have been told the time is up. So
no, a little bit of Thai is okay.
Okay. Couple of minutes, ma'am. Is that okay?
5 minutes.
Is Thai just after this? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Rajiv, could you just play a couple of minutes on that video, please? Okay, thank you.
So, +2. And then No, not this. Not.
Yeah. Sorry, I think.
Thai.
Can you just Can you just pause
before this?
Let's play from
before this.
Yeah.
Sushmita, I don't think we have that, online. So the uploading, I think, has not been done for the third video. So that's
Okay.
but we can post the link online and people can have a look at that. So
It is there before this.
yeah. The problem is, ma'am. No, the problem is, ma'am. We can't. The restrictions are there. You can't. Long video. So we edited out in 3 sections. So the section which we are talking is currently not. But we'll post the link. Don't worry. So you can see the link. People can go and have a see at the link. Yeah.
Please,
sorry for that. Yeah.
So this can stop.
Yeah. So currently, I think you can, if you want, we.
Thank you.
And she's the national player in cricketer. Cricketer come dancer. So, come here. And this one is going to be a good lawyer who will fight in the court of law. And this one is a physicist who does a PhD in Bombay IIT. And she is the national scholarship holder from Government of India Department of Culture. So I must say that dance doesn't mean that you can't study. You can study and do it provided your mind is disciplined and brain absorbs whenever it requires and whatever is required. That is how I must say in this Abhinaya, they describe the beauty of Radha and Krishna who is called Madana Mohana. So that is a very old song and the tune is also extremely most traditional tune of Odisha. And I'm sorry because of shortage of time, they couldn't show the whole thing. Hopefully in future, if they get an opportunity, they will show it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am. Your students are amazing, really super. So I think as Rajiv said, we will show the bit which we missed on sort of YouTube. He will show it to us because I think he had to sort of cut it in sections. And also our time, it brings us to a good ending to our time. Sort of we have slightly overrun, but not much because the program has been so pleasant. I would like to thank all my guests today and sort of, ma'am, we'll start with you. Pranam, ma'am, thank you so much for your contribution and we would look forward to seeing you again. Didi, thank you so much for joining us and all your advice you have given. And Opa, thank you so much. It's sort of very late. Thank you and your contribution for today and all our guests. And I think my ma has gone. I wanted to thank her. And thank you, Priya, who's our trustee of Kaladi Arts. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Ginny, who's also a trustee from Kaladi Arts. And thank you, the initiative, and Rajiv Singh from Kaladi Arts. He helps us with the technicalities. And Devrata, thank you so much for the encouragement. And Andy, who works with us 1 day a week. He does all the marketing. So all the flyers you saw, ma'am, with the Nehru Centre, that's all done by Andy, who has been an arts manager for the last 30 years. Andy Buchanan, who works with us 1 day a week. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guests. Thank you, Nehru Centre, for the opportunity. Amish ji, Guhare ji, and all the staff of the Nehru Centre, Sandeep and Archana, who have helped us come today. And thank you, viewers. Thank you so much. Have a nice journey. Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.